Right. So, what we discussed in the previous sessions about uh, account creation, we have discussed how to create accounts. At the same time, we have discussed about the creation of contacts, all that stuff. So, whenever we create an account, so even we create even contacts, right? So leads, etc. Right. So this part we have discussed. So major role of a business analyst are more or less like an admin activity, because again I'm repeating the point, because not the complete admin role. As a Salesforce admin role, we will be focusing on authentications, authorizations, all that. If you are an admin, okay, if you are an admin. But whereas when we are working as a business analyst, it's always important for us to know about the field configurations. Major settings of the project in the backend has to be performed, because normally developers will write a code using called Apex. Apex is a programming language using by the development team to write the code for the Salesforce projects. So in the on the front end, I'm talking about on the front end. So in the back end, there must be some field configurations according to the business rules of the organization. The business analyst has to make. Okay, this is nothing to do with admin role as separate. Okay, admin roles will be working on multiple applications, integrations, right? So authentication, authorizations, they will be doing it. That role is different. But to a basic minimum role of an administrative activity has to be done by the BA. Because initial field configurations, at the same time user managing the user configurations, these things we should be knowing. The reason is applications remains constant. Salesforce, whatever the application you can see, this remains same for everyone. But you are making configurations according to the requirement of the customer. It will not be the same for all the people, right? So according to the requirements of the customer, according to the requirement of the customer upon it. So whatever the needed changes and all everything has to be made. In this regard, so go to settings here. I can show you here, right? So here we have already created accounts, etc. Right? So here you can see there is an option for settings, quick settings, wherein there are different settings for there, right? So one is about field settings has to be done. At the same time, if you want to customize any kind of stagings to match the process and all everything, sales stages, even that settings can be done even. Because sales stages, when you talk about um, when we talk about the confirmation, right? So conversion, right? So that stage I have discussed with you and I have shown you last time, right? So that's where generally the sales stages and all everything come into picture. Next, when it from the user company point of view, if there is any kind of user changes or authentications, authorizations for the user permissions, even that settings can be done, followed by the business details, etc. All that. So billings and purchases are not relating to your this thing. Now, here this is where generally field settings are. Again, these field settings, customized field settings for the existing application, again will be categorized into multiple areas. One is relating to the opportunities. Next is relating to accounts. Next is relating to contacts and leads. Now you can select opportunities, right? So first one I'm selecting, okay. Right, so now here, whenever you are going for this, there are two things. One is about single line and second is about long test line. So here we need to provide a name for that, right? So whenever, again, I'm repeating here, whenever you're going for opportunities, we have multiple fields. Opportunities is a field we have selected. Text as well as number, right? So date, checkbox, phone number, right? So everything has to be provided. Now we are taking text. When it comes to the text, whatever the text information you are going to mention, these text information may be in a single line text. Single line text means a simple text. Or else it can be a long text area also, right? So two different things. Let's say, for example, it's a single line test. Okay, single line is what generally the field I've taken, for example. Okay. Uh, okay. So address is what something a single line test I have taken. Uh, Length 6. Okay. Help text uh, must be unique one, case sensitive, default value. I'm just giving the rough figure. Okay. The rough figure I'm just giving. Default value is 5. Right. So opportunity as an address. Default value must be the 5. Length will be the 6 because it's a single line one. Okay. Right. So one field is created. The field was created especially for opportunities. Okay, this is for the single line setting I'm talking about. Whatever the setting we have done so far in context to the opportunities when we are creating, it's a single line setting. Depends on the address because end of the day these are all relating to leads of the customers. Okay, sales leads. Sales leads of the customer, we have taken one as an opportunity for the address. So address for the single line command, single line on information is what something we have taken. Okay. Now, for example, I'm taking some long text. Okay, long text. Long text address followed by, for example, requirement. Okay. What were the requirement? Requirement cannot be completed in the limited information, right? So wherein you have to write down this in the detailed part, right? So requirement is what something we have taken. Length must be 24. Okay, right. So for example, okay, sorry, 20, right? So yeah, so length will be right. So number of visible lines. For example, number of visible lines is something where somewhere comes under 3. Okay, right. Help text, right? So it's not required here. Okay, long text area. Right, successfully we have completed the requirement as an opportunity. So this is where generally we need to create the fields. So we have to click on each and every field and we need to do the customization of the fields. So we have done the single line, we have done the long text. Next, when it comes to the number, okay, number we have number again, numbers are somewhere differentiated. For example, when we have taken a sales data, okay, sales data where sales number will be mentioned. At the same time, sales in context to the conversion and all everything, whatever the transaction of money will happen. So that's where generally we have to select the currency if it was relating to that stuff. Or else you want to know about the percentage of success rate, right? So success rate or conversion rate. I meant to say that sales conversion rate. If you want to know about the sales conversion rate, then percentage will be calculated into an account. Understood, Bhavik and Garima, following or not?
Yes, sir.
Right? So number will be taken for the customer number, right? So we have taken currency, percentage of sales, amount of sales, how much is happened comes under the currency part. But when it comes to the percentage, is something relating to the rate of success. How much percentage of success or sales conversion happened, right? So for that, generally we need to make this customization. Accordingly, the developer will write the code for the requirements what were identified. Based on that, whatever the regular operations under the Salesforce application will be used by the users, whoever the users. Let's say we are using this, we are using this application for a financial institution or an insurance company or a healthcare organization. Users can do that. Okay, users can do that. That was the major difference wherein we need to be identified over here. Now, customize your field number, name I'm talking about. For this number, I'm giving you the name. Cost. Okay. For example, cost is a number I'm giving. decimal places, right? So for example, if the decimal places means 18.36 or 26.9, right? Like that, right? So two decimal places I'm giving point. Okay, two decimal places, unique required. Next, right? So two decimal places. Two decimal place. Let us take out decimal places. Okay, decimal places may not be. Uh, that is different. So decimal 18 we can give. That is better. 18 length we can give. We can give more than that decimal. 24 I can give. You can say 24. I can take 24 for this. 18 point, right? So 18.2 decimals. 4 decimals I can take. Okay, I think point will be taken. 18 length we have taken, better, we'll deduct it. Length is 12. Okay, it's here. Length is 12. That is better, right? So length is 12. 12 is the length I have taken. So less than that is a decimal point. Right, so yeah, right, so this is created. Now again, opportunity. Number we have taken, yeah, it's completely completed. Next is percentage. Percentage we don't require. Currency. Currency normally, right? So I can take the currency here. Currency cost we have taken as a number. Currency lead type. They have taken it for, it's not giving any kind of decimals for this percentage. 14 is a length. Okay, so this is where generally the fields which you have to change. Opportunities is a field which normally we have changed so far. Next is accounts, right? So accounts, if you want to make any kind of changes in the accounts and all. So these are all common, okay, because date settings, everything we can make it, okay. At the same time, you can check it, checkbox or its phone number or an email ID, right? So everything we can give, okay. So now I'm going for opportunity accounts. Text, single line or long text area. This is anyway known to you, okay, because we have done on opportunities, the same thing will be applied. Even number, the same process we have to follow, so that I'm not following over here, because the same process. Date, right? So here we have not created, okay. For example, inquiry, right? So this is what something we have taken as a date, right? So this is for date purpose, right? So this is the date purpose was created field. Accounts, date we have created, checkbox. Checkbox for enable, for example, right? So enable, checked or unchecked, right? So checked, for example, right? So checkbox is created. Next, phone number. Contact. Next, email. Customer one. Yes. URL. Something like XYZ. I'm just kidding. Okay. Right, so it's completed. So these are the fields were created. So opportunities where if you want to deal with potential customers and all. So to make some configurations and all settings, custom fields and all everything, opportunities is what something which is being used. Next, when it comes to the accounts, right? So whatever the account creations are we going to do, whatever the accounts we are going to create. So we have to update all the accounts here, right? So by adding the details, etc., all that. Now, when it comes to the contacts here, right? So the same process we also be followed, right? So same process, because whatever the process we have followed for opportunities, whatever the process we have followed even for accounts and all, everything will also becomes under this category. Okay, because even this contacts or leads, okay, even you are going for a leads also the same process will be followed, right? Since single line or double long text area or number checkbox, email. So all these we can do because this is a common procedure which we have to be followed. So these are the field settings which normally we have to be performed. Because if there is any kind of accounts are we going to create, or if you want to create any kind of leads you are going to create, right? So whatever the leads do we have in all everything, right? So if you want to use any kind of leads and all, there are some settings in context to the fields what we are using. So has to be mentioned and has to be created on our own. So these are all the information which was given by the customer. Do remember, okay? Here you can see. So current date, right? So all these things you can see, right? So you can see all that, right? So when it was created, what was the name of the company, lead status, current status date, or last activity date, whatever the last activity date it was, right? Who owns that? So whatever the required fields, if you want to be changed, but whatever the required fields, if you want to be added and all everything is what something which we can do it. That's where generally basic customization in context to the fields and all everything has to be performed by the business analyst. Because this is the information which you have gathered from the customer. Because customer means, let's say a financial institution or some retail outlet or someone XYZ is using Salesforce application. So your organization, you are using it. So according to your customer data, according to the data, what is that are we going to use? Whatever the required fields to be added, what are the required fields to be updated in regular intervals, that has to be changed here. That is where generally this all the sales and all everything comes into picture. Next, there is any kind of ad campaigning and all everything we have to add, so that ad campaigning can be done. That is not somewhere relevant, right? So not required here because leads is what something which we have to be changed upon. And next, if you want to assign any kind of labels to the existing ones and all everything, that we can select it. Labels or if you want to add any cadences and all everything, that can be done. So that can be done later. Okay. Now custom fields is what something which we have taken. Next about the sales stages. Okay, sales stages. So sales stages, as I told you, what are the different sales stages do we have in all? So these sales stages is what something which can be added or which can be, if it means if you want to add any kind of new sales stage and all, you can add it. Because Salesforce or whatever the CRM application, we have an advantage where whatever the required stages of the application, whatever are needed for sales stages or something, right? So everything is predefined. Do remember these are all the predefined cases or these are the predefined ones which are already created. So we are not adding anything new as separate. Okay, we don't require to add anything new. But according to the sales pipeline, what we have, for example, lead status maintenance we are doing. In regard to the lead status maintenance, we want to set some stages in addition. Okay, for example, what are the sales stages we have? One is new, second is contacted, the third is nurturing, qualified, and unqualified. Okay. Now, for example, you want to add one more. Okay, for example, revoke, right? So revoke the old. Okay, revoke the old. No, for example, there was some old contacts data was there. Okay, now you want to revoke it, and you want to keep it in the existing one. Okay, for example, you want to keep it, right? So you can, if you want, you can add multiple lead stages and all everything over here. For example, you have already taken out. Now you want to revoke it and again you want to start it fresh, the old data, for example. Okay, because whatever the data you can see over here, either it can be new or contacted, nurturing, qualified, unqualified. These are all the common things, because whenever we are maintaining sales records or wherever we are maintaining the sales stages and all, these are all common. New sales, new customer inquiry we got, right? So whether we have contacted or not, nurturing, under process, qualified or not qualified, unqualified, right? So these are the common customized sales stages which were already defaulted in we have. Now I have added one more called revoke. Okay, right? So here you can see there is an option for revoke, where if you want you can open the revoke part and you can add it. Okay, so revoke, right? So revoke is one thing which we have added. Next, opportunity stages, right? So when you talk about opportunity stages, these are the opportunity stages we have. One is about the qualify stage, meet and propose and all that. So now, if you want to write down any description for this and all everything, we have to write down the description for the project, whatever the solution you are going to develop, right? So means if there is any kind of solution for this particular project, a business solution, if you want to write down the description for all these, so you can write down, right? So even for negotiate, or if you want to close win, means on these grounds, this will be considered as complete. Okay, that is the thing, right? So we need to quantify that, we need to mention that, we need to update this on these conditions. This is so called